trailer up is because it leads into our homework so perfectly.
Oh, our homework.
Oh, yeah.
So, which we need to be getting on
So
to.
I
It's
assigned
Lewis's turn.
Slaughterhouse Five,
Yeah.
which is a great book.
Yes.
I'm not sure that it's a great movie. I'd like to hear what you guys think.
I think the first thing I have written down was I liked it, but I didn't. What the fuck with Lazaro? That's all I have written down.
Paul Lazaro's an asshole.
What
isn't
the
he?
fuck?
I'll take a shot. No, it was a little hard to get into, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing. It was made in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it
72?
snaps forward and backwards and forward and backwards, and it was hard to.
Well, yes, but it wasn't even necessarily that. It was just how spontaneous it was at first. But it doesn't take long, or at least I was surprised how soon I caught up to like what was going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I was kind of like, in a way, this film is almost ahead of its time. It felt like kind of a strange, jumbled Forrest Gump type movie where it's going through his whole life.
Yeah.
And I was actually, I was like, okay, this is interesting. It might not be the most entertaining movie, but it's interesting, and I'm enjoying it thus far. And it's not very often you see, at least lately, American soldiers being prisoners of war during the World War II, just because it was such a violent war. But and then then it just kind of takes a dump on you.
Yeah. Act 3
Really?
literally shits in your mouth. Yeah.
No,
Really?
what? How so? What do you mean?
When he finally makes it to his Transylvania, or where the fuck his
Tralfamadore?
Yeah, that.
Salvadorians.
Yeah.
Okay. This
We
is
exist in the
my-
fourth
okay.
dimension. Are you gonna mate?
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Yes.
It's like
a perv finally admits it.
They're all, they sound so philosophical. Same with the main character. He's explaining it, how we're nothing but we're everything, and that they're from the fourth dimension, and that they've explored like 500,000 planets, and that this was like planet Earth is the only planet where they discovered what
Where they have
People believe in
that's
free will.
free will. And you know what happens? I mean, and you're like, okay, these are interesting wise aliens. They transport a girl. She tackles him. Are you guys mating?
Right, they're like
These
look,
wise aliens that apparently
they turn into
the universe.
13-year-old boys.
These aliens, and I know I'm concentrating on aliens. There's a lot more to this film than that, but
this is the most bizarre portion of the film.
these aliens know exactly how and when the universe will end. Like they even make the statement.
Yeah.
And we let it happen.
Yeah, because it always has and will happen.
Yes.
They don't
They
let
can't
it.
stop
They
it.
can't
Yeah.
not let it
The
happen.
lights go out. Are you
Are you guys mating? I love that. Yeah, I thought that was really great. They turned into a bunch of pervy teens.
And that really, like, the mood was just like.
And the applause, all the silent applause you can't see, right?
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Well, and just that weird. When the first scene when they're in there, I looked over at Amy. I was like, "What the fuck are they in? Are they in like a jungle gym? What is that?" And then it doesn't. And then it's not because you see that like that's one of the first scenes of the movie, and then you don't find out what that is until Act 3. You're like,
right?
What the fuck? This is so. It hurts my head. But then you're trying to figure out, okay, is this dude actually a time traveler, or has he just got a really vivid imagination and able to remember all of his memories very accurately?
I actually thought at one point that maybe he was insane because
that's what I was kind of thinking
injury.
too, because of he created
plane
the
crash.
the plane crash. He created his own planet.
How sane can you be if you're like, I am currently on an alien planet having a child?
With a famous
While
actor
I'm
that I
here
saw on the
being
movie
murdered.
Skitter. Yeah,
But he also knows exactly how he's going to be killed, and he's right.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing. That's a weird thing too. Like, if you knew how you were going to be killed, would you just like avoid that? Like, just not get out of bed?
That's
that
the
day?
point.
Yeah.
You can't.
If there's no
free will. Everything will happen.
Yeah.
It's just that we can't see and live in the fourth dimension. That's the problem.
Damn it.
no, they did
Apparently, there's a lot of boobies in the fourth dimension.
They did
That's
an amazing
fantastic.
job for back in the day, making him look younger and older. Like,
Yeah.
The
I was
makeup's pretty,
impressed with that,
pretty
yeah.
decent. Maybe this is part of my problem with the film. I
he
feel
looks like a murderer.
Well, I feel like so the story itself, even with the aliens and stuff, which is in the book, works for me. Okay, it's philosophical. It's postmodern in how it moves back and forth through time.
And this is the book, right?
The book.
Okay.
But when I see Billy Pilgrim in my head when I'm reading it versus the actor that plays him, I don't see him the same way. And the actor they got to play the lead, they found a guy, and I think they purposefully wanted a guy who looks kind of simple. Like
they nailed that.
Not too smart, not too active, just kind of white and dull and
kind of vanilla-ish.
Literally, look at him. He's blonde. He's really pale. He's literally vanilla, right? The problem is it's really hard to just watch that. When you read the book, Billy Pilgrim is kind of he just kind of drifts through the book.
He kind of drifts through the movie too, but
it's okay in the book because you have a voice, the narrator's voice, that keeps you going. Yeah. Whereas in the movie, we need him as our anchor, and I don't feel like he's able to.
He was there, yeah. Well, like here's him as a young person. Here's him as an old person. And for the people that are only listening, sorry, you can't see what we're talking about, but
they do a good job with the makeup.
They do a really good job,
especially for 72.
For 72, or it came out in 72, so it was probably filmed in 71 most likely.
Yeah.
Here's Tryptophan or whatever. Tralfamador, whatever the fuck. Damn it, it's not coming in very clear, but that's Tralfamador.
No, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Tralfamador shows up in 4 or 5 of Kurt Vonnegut's books.
Oh, really? Is it something that he created himself?
Yeah, it's his alien race and planet where he is able to discuss.
There we go.
Free will or the lack of free will, because that's a big thing for Vonnegut. Mm-hmm. He really wants us to understand that if you understand like real physics and stuff, the idea of the past and the future and being able to control that is actually kind of nonsensical. Like scientifically, well, we talk about the past as if we could change it sometimes. We'll say things like, you know what, if you'd have only come on time, then none of this would have happened.
Right.
We say stuff like that, and it's meaningless. You can't ever go back in time and change things. So how do we ever know how things would have been different? We don't. We just create a story about how it'll be different. And the same with the future. You know, if you don't invest some money, you're not going to have enough to live on when you retire. We don't know. I might get hit by a car tomorrow.
Right.
Like, who knows what's right? Or I might invest all my stuff and then Wall Street will destroy my 401k. Who knows? Or I might decide not to invest and Wall Street won't destroy it and I end up being poor. Am I hitting you with my hand? So my point is that we live in this kind of space where we think there's a past and we think there's a future that is somehow changeable. And Vonnegut's calling us out and saying, actually, just live in the present because that's the only thing that's real.
So it goes. Yeah, that's the.
He says, "So it goes," all through the
all
book.
Book.
Every time a character dies, he says, "So it goes."
Well, film-wise, though, not just the story, the novel. I think the whole thing was absolutely worth it to watch his wife drive to the hospital.
Oh my god!
Yeah, wasn't that the best thing you've ever seen in your life?
We were peeing our pants and we were laughing so hard about that.
Jesus,
that scene starts, and I'm watching it with my wife Amy. That scene starts, and she goes, "Wow, what the fuck just happened there?" I'm like, I don't know. She's not really with it very much, and then it just starts going worse and worse and worse. And I'm like,
and it's so,
what in the holy hell is happening?
It's just so ridiculous.
It was so great, though. It was so funny.
It reminds me of Blues Brothers driving.
It's like through the mall.
Yeah, exactly. So she's driving and driving. It's ridiculous, and she's so worried. What does she keep repeating? She keeps saying, like, "I'm coming, Billy. I'm coming, Billy." And then you find out. It's like it just cuts. She hits into the wall, and then they take her away, and they pass each other in the hallway, and then you find out later from.
A question. Did it? Maybe I was wrong, but didn't it look like she arrived at the hospital and just slammed into
Yes.
And she died from carbon monoxide
poisoning. Yeah.
How? And I swear, like half her car was missing. So I'm not sure.
It was so for real. That with the whole thing.
Well,
she was riding
smoke that was coming off her car. A lot of
up
it was
and down the hills,
the
the medians, and the
just her going down the wrong way,
and then you get.
I thought the wife was fantastic throughout.
But then you get the moment where he gives her the present, and he gives her the bow Oh, when she walks down the stairs to get her brand new car, and you realize that's the car we just saw the scene
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the in
It
and
was
out of
kinda-
time really
yeah,
works.
it was kind of cool. I actually
so
did appreciate
I
that
actually
too.
hate that scene.
You didn't like
so
that?
much. Like, it was funny, but when I like thought of it as a whole, like, I'm like,
A
wait,
whole
what's
in-
this? What?
She was.
They didn't even show. She just literally, like, you see her at one point and then she snaps apparently while she's driving. And
She literally snaps.
Yeah, but there's no leading up to that.
Nope, it just cuts straight
But
to
it-
it. So,
yeah.
but part of the goal of this story is to get us out of the idea that one thing leads to the next. It's to kind of tell us that everything is at the same time. So we see her kill herself basically with this Cadillac, right? We see the wife kill herself with this Cadillac
On accident, but
Yeah.
yes.
on accident, and then we cut to her birthday where she gets the Cadillac.
Yeah.
After we know that's the thing
That's
that's
what's
going to
gonna kill
you.
her, yeah.
And she's so happy and she's so excited, and yet we can't see it the same way she sees it because we know
what's
coming.
or what's about to happen to her. Yeah.
And she can't make a choice when she's getting a cat. She can't sit there and go, "Oh, I'll probably die if I accept this gift." She just is
Accept
excited,
it,
and
yeah.
she's gonna accept it, and she's gonna die, and that's just it. That's what it is. It is what it is, and I think that's a really hard lesson
well, and it's a
for
hard
people.
thing to wrap your
Yeah.
brain around too. So
Right.
Yeah.
that is I
So, guys, I gave it like 2 stars. It's not my favorite movie by any means.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
largely
'cause
unsuccessful.
I was actually hoping, like, with the aliens, like, it wasn't the aliens, it was just how they introduced the aliens that really, like, would throw the average viewer off, I think.
Yeah, it's very weird. That's part of why I like it, though, is I knew that as weird as it is with the time traveling, it's even weirder that aliens suddenly show up and
Well, it's
out of nowhere, right?
the aliens.
yeah,
well,
and
it's
how they arrive is weird. Like there's one little teeny little
Star.
suggestion of it earlier, and then the suggestion comes back like, oh hey, there's that thing that I saw 45 minutes ago. Oh wow, that
well,
that took a really random turn to left field.
The cheesy effects and how they arrived in it's just more like, okay, they kind of introduced them as these fourth dimensional wise super intelligent aliens, and then you're kind of like, wait, what? Did they just say that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's a one. No,
They're really
egging them on.
kind of obsessed with that. Actually, maybe they're obsessed with it because they can't procreate themselves.
There's another book by Kurt Vonnegut called The Sirens of Titan, and I'm going to spoil it right now, so you should all stop your podcast. In The Sirens of Titan, the humans finally get out to this moon around Saturn called Titan, and there they discover an alien. It's one of these Tralfamadorians, and they ask the alien, what's going on. The alien's basically immortal, and it says, well, I crash landed here on Titan, and my spaceship, I was able to repair most of it, but there was a metal I needed to finish the repair so I could leave, and I couldn't get that metal on this planet, and I couldn't get off the planet. So what I did to get the metal that I needed was I took some like DNA seeds and I shot them at the blue planet that had the metal I needed and created life there, and that life evolved into humans and everything else, and those humans eventually built spaceships, and they brought metal in those spaceships here to Titan,
that's awesome.
so that I could fix my ship. So if you ever wondered what the whole purpose of life is and why humans exist at all,
to get that
it's
one
so
person
you can fix
off.
my spaceship.
Awesome.
And then he fixes his ship and he flies off, and all the humans are just left with like, that's it.
So all of our philosophies and all of it's just bullshit.
Well, it's like the worst reason, right?
Yeah,
and that's the kind of books. If you think
I do
that's
kind of like
funny,
that kind of stuff.
you should.
Yeah.
And his books are so easy to read. They're
Yes.
literally written for an 8-year-old. His 8-year-old
Are they
sister.
adult or young adult literature?
No,
No.
they're not. They're taught in college sometimes, but
they're just easy reads.
But they're written at a level that anyone, an 8th grader
And any
could read
of
them.
his nonfiction stuff as well. He talks about writing or right
He's
before, right
wonderful.
before he
I
died.
highly
he had a
recommend Kurt
fantastic.
Vonnegut.
Yeah, he
So
just
overall, though,
delightful.
Can we? I can't really recommend the movie.
It's not.
It made for a great discussion on the show. I don't know if
Yeah.
I would tell any of my friends to be like, "Oh, dude, you know what? You should sit down and
no.
watch."
No.
No, Kim and I finished, and I looked at her, and I was like, that wasn't very good. It's disappointing. It's the same guy who
But
made
the car scene's so
the car
great.
scene's hilarious. I agree.
Best part. No, we kind of just enjoyed it because we like Kurt Vonnegut Jr.
And,
and we
the
like his
book.
stories and all
Right.
this stuff. So we,
And Paul
That's
Lazaro is like the best villain, the most villainous villain ever. And,
Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with that guy?
And you get to see some of the hopeless, meaningless lives and deaths. Like that poor guy gets
with
murdered at
the
end for
trinket.
nothing,
Yeah, that was
for
such a bummer.
nothing.
Like they got the nicest
Be-
guy they could ever find.
Yeah.
because of the rule.
The rule,
You
yeah.
don't take anything.
Which
if you
it-
do, you get
Yeah.
shot.
And
And they
that's
do it, and then they just throw it on the ground. They don't really care about it
Yeah.
anyway. It's just the rules.
It's the rules, yeah.
And it was just
because.
a
As soon
Yeah.
as they said, "Hey, give me that," I leaned over to Amy. I was like, "They're gonna throw that on the ground.
Yeah.
Like they do not give a fuck about that trinket."
No.
And we knew he was going to die because they'd said it earlier in
Yeah.
the show.
Yep.
Oh, he was your friend that was killed.
What was
in the
his name
war.
again? And she wants to tell all these
Yeah.
stories.
Oh yeah,
'cause she did-
She was weird.
She was annoying.
Quirky.
Yeah.
She annoyed me too.
I
I'm gonna
really-
lose weight for you. Fuck off already.
And every day she comes out in the yard and she's like,
Just fat.
I made a cake.
Yeah.
I made some pie.
Yeah, it's not
I
a
mean,
great
there's 13
movie.
pounds of bacon for you, honey.
It's not a great movie, but
It does spark some great conversation.
Yeah.
If you want a good conversation piece,
Yeah.
you like to discuss
if you want to
things, watch
see
it.
a movie unlike anything else,
Yes,
then this
agreed.
might be the one to try.
Yeah, it starts off weird, the middle of it's weird, it ends weird. It just kind of stops. There's really, honestly, there's no like resolve to it or anything. It just kind of stops playing. And all of a sudden,
Yep.
the credits roll up. I'm like, oh, I was mildly to almost
So many
severely
unanswered
disappointed.
questions.
All right, what are we gonna do for homework?